Cody Barton. But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the command post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I, of course, am your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. So, I've been intrigued by this whole linebacker discussion that we've been having this entire offseason. It's a really pertinent discussion because last offseason we were pretty much 99% sure they were going to really address the linebacker position. And then when they didn't in the draft, we didn't have any money in free agency. So, of course, we did nothing in free agency, which was perfectly fine given that we had eaten $28 million of Carson Wentz's deal and we had to release guys just to get to a position where we were comfortable. So we knew free agency wasn't really an option, but we fully expected the draft to be somewhere where one or two guys were drafted at the linebacker position, and when they did absolutely nothing, I think Drue White was one of the guys they signed after the draft was over as an undrafted free agent. But, to not draft a single linebacker was surprising, and it really, all signs pointed to Cole Holcomb getting an opportunity to play the middle linebacker position, which ultimately did happen. Fast forward this year, and there's no more Cole Holcomb. We're sick of John Bostic and David Mayo getting any reps. Mayo is back, so that's always frightful because you feel like at some point he's going to whittle and wheedle his way back onto the field. And so you just want depth. You want insurance that it's got to be a catastrophe for a guy like, David Mayo to hit the field. And so, them signing Cody Barton and not signing back Cole Holcomb, you know what? For most people, it was an even trade-off. I don't agree with that, but it is what it is, okay? But my thing was, and my stance was throughout that entire ordeal was they can't be done, okay? Even if they had brought back Cole Holcomb, they should not have stopped there. They shouldn't be done because that would put you in the exact same dilemma we were in last year. If you just brought back Cole Holcomb and did nothing else, then Cole Holcomb gets hurt again, you're right back to where you were, and David Mayo's on the field again. So just signing, Cody Barton isn't okay. And I was like, you have to do something else, whether you do it in the draft or free agency. I figured free agency might have come and gone, and maybe they weren't going to do anything else. Even though John Comm had already told us they were interested in doing some other things in free agency. They were also interested in bringing back Cole Holcomb. It didn't work. And so that let me know that they were interested in adding another linebacker, which is what I want ultimately. So the news came out that Washington was interested in Drue Tranquill. I told you guys during the free agency frenzy live stream that that's a guy that I would love to have here in Washington. His versatility is that of a guy in Cam Curl, right? Former safety, turned linebacker, physical down in the box, but can also run and move and cover in space. He gives you that diversity that you lacked when there was no Cam Curl in the lineup. I said, that's a guy you should target in free agency. And obviously a former Golden Domer, so I'm very familiar with his game. He played really well. The biggest problem with Drue Tranquill in his career in L.A. with the Chargers was health. He's a guy that, would miss 2 or 3 games here, miss another 2 or 3 there. But when he was on the field, he was highly productive, very versatile, blitz, cover, tackle, you name it, he could do it. Well, Washington was interested, but apparently the sides couldn't come to an agreement on money. Maybe he wanted to just stay in the division that he was in. A lot of times players are more comfortable staying in the division that they've been competing in for the last 3 or 4 years. And he ended up going to the Chiefs on a 1-year deal. It's a 1-year, $3 million deal that can get up to $5 million. And I'm looking around and I'm saying, we couldn't have done that. But again, it's not up to us. Who's to say Washington didn't offer him a 1-year, $3.5 million deal that could get up to $6 million, and he just wanted to be in Kansas City. It was something that was more comfortable for him. And not to mention, they're the Chiefs. They just won the Super Bowl. I would like to win a ring, and Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Duh. That could have played a part in it as well. But who's to say that we didn't offer him something similar or even more? That said, Anthony Walker Jr., this was reported by Adam Schefter today, that the Washington Commanders were going to meet with him today about potentially signing on board. Now, he was a guy that was intriguing in free agency, except he was coming off of a torn quadriceps. So in week 3 of the season last year, playing against the Steelers on a Thursday night, he tears his quad, and he thinks his career is over. He's like, I've never felt a pain like this before in my life. I literally knew something was horribly wrong. I couldn't feel I couldn't feel my legs. the leg that I had torn the quad on. I couldn't feel my leg. And he said, I'm on the field crying. They put me on the cart. I'm crying. They're wheeling me off on the cart. I'm crying. I get in the locker room. I'm crying because I think my career is done. And guy was a hell of a linebacker in Indy in his first few years in the league. Goes to Cleveland, actually really solid for the Browns, and then has that injury, misses pretty much the entire season last year. And we don't know how healthy he is. I like him as a football player, and if you would have told me he was healthy, he'd probably already be off the market by now if he was coming off of a season, because this is a guy, 3 out of his first 4 or 5 years in the league, he's over 100 tackles, he's around the football, really instinctual linebacker. I like him a lot. However, I'm not in the business of signing up for multiple guys who thought their careers were over due to an injury that they sustained on the field. Now, the difference between Nick Gates and Anthony Walker Jr. is we saw Nick Gates play in a football game. As a matter of fact, 7 of them last year in the regular season, and another 2 in the playoffs. So we actually saw him perform, come back, be healthy, and we know he's capable, right? We know the injury has healed and he's all the way back. Even if he's cleared medically, Anthony Walker Jr., that is, you can't be certain you're getting the same linebacker that you got prior to the injury. So I'm not really too thrilled with, signing him up, even though the production, what I've seen throughout his career, all encouraging things that I would love to be a part of. I'm not interested in the guy. We already did this offseason, the guy with a significant injury, and that's a roll of the dice. But that position already has a ton of depth. We've added a bunch of guys. And so whether something happens or not to Nick Gates, if he's healthy, great, he can help. If he's not, we got stuff. This is a position where we don't have a lot of stuff. We can't afford a guy to come in here and stink or get injured. We need a healthy body. Now, again, it's football. You can bring a guy in here, no injury history whatsoever, and the first game he plays in, he's injured. Like, that's football. But I'd rather roll the dice with a situation like that than a guy that has a major injury the way that he sustained, the kind that he sustained last year, being, an integral part of this defense. Because, again, Cody Barton may ultimately end up starting no matter who we bring in here, which is, at this point, I don't give a shit. All right, I just want more depth. I don't want to end up in the same position we ended up last year. And so all I really wanted to come to you guys and say, because probably not going to sign Anthony Walker Jr., the likelihood is if you bring a guy in your building and you don't hear anything about a signing that day, the chances are it's almost like the first 48. The likelihood of you solving a crime after the first 48 hours decreases exponentially. The likelihood of you signing a player that leaves your building after you've met with them that day, it decreases exponentially. And not to say that tomorrow we won't hear that Anthony Walker Jr. agreed to terms with Washington on a 1-year deal. Very well could happen. The likelihood is it won't. But to my larger point, what the interest in Drue Tranquill, the interest in Cole Holcomb being brought back, and the interest in Anthony Walker Jr. says to me, and it should say to all of you, is they're not done at linebacker. And that's all I think most of us wanted to hear, was that they're not done at linebacker. And again, whether it's via free agency, which it's slim pickings now. I mean, they're talking to a guy that only played in 2.5 games last season, coming off of a major injury. Okay, it's slim pickings out there now at this point. But whether it's free agency or the draft, they're looking to add to the position, and that's all I wanted to hear. That's it. Whether you did it in free agency or the draft is really of no consequence to me. Just do it. Just add to the position and add value to the position. Don't just add a body to be adding a body. Add value. Anthony Walker Jr. healthy is value at the position. Can't be assured that he's going to be healthy, but if he's healthy, that's value. Add a guy in the draft that adds value to this football team at the linebacker position. I'm convinced now more so than ever that they're going to do something. I don't know when, where, how, and who it's going to be, but at least they're going to do something. This, I don't think, is going to be a repeat of last year, which was really frustrating, to say the least. Not doing anything at linebacker. And it cost us. It cost us. So, in any event, I just wanted to come here to tell you guys that linebacker is going to be addressed, I believe, at some point this offseason. Again, because we've already signed one guy. I think it's going to be addressed again, as it should be. And I don't think we have anything to worry about as far as depth is concerned. They'll add another guy. Now, is that guy any good? Is Cody Barton even any good? We'll have to wait and see. Okay? But I like the fact that they've tried at least. At least they've tried, which lets us know they're not going to ignore the position like they did last year. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. I've heard all of the rumors about Josh Harris buying the Commanders $6 billion and all of these different players. All of a sudden, we heard Michael Jordan's name come up. I think that was a Tom Lavero special. We saw that he was thinking about selling some of his shares of the Bobcats. Magic Johnson's name has come up as a guy that would be interested to be an investor in a group that tries to purchase the Commanders. Things moving quickly. I think J.P. Finley was the one that said, if you're looking at this sale of the team as a drive, this thing is first and goal inside the 10. He's like more so inside the 5. So we're getting pretty close. But again, I'm just going to sit back, watch this situation unfold. And when it's done, okay, when the deal is done, then you know what's good, okay? We're dancing in the streets. Shake it, warrior. But until then, I continue to sit back and observe and watch everything take place. It's happening, guys. Understand this. We are getting our effing franchise back. We didn't think this was going to happen. It's happening. This is a reality. Just got to let it finish playing itself out. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. God bless and good night. LouieTeeNetwork.